Yeah, let's take a look. Atozy, what's up?
Ellen DeGeneres is now being sued for negligence after she allegedly ran a stop sign and T-boned a woman's Tesla.
Okay.
So, even after moving across the world, it seems like Ellen, for some reason, is having a hard time avoiding American headlines. Except for this time, she isn't being called out for being a shitty boss. She's been called out for T-boning an innocent woman in her Tesla. Because I guess who needs stop signs when you can just plow into another vehicle? Not very generous if you ask me, but hey.
I mean, I don't like looking at Teslas, but like, damn, did you really have to do that? It's a joke. I don't know if she actually did it because of that.
This is very unfortunate for Ellen, as the last few years she's been under scrutiny for a numerous amount of controversies. The main one being that she creates a toxic work culture and that she doesn't really live up to the whole be kind mantra that she preached on for decades on TV. But before all of that, Ellen was mostly a beloved
She had to cut it out because of copyright. Did you see that?
Comedian, talk show host, and maybe more notably, the voice actor of Dory in Finding Nemo.
Want a piece of me? Yeah. Ooh, I'm scared now. What?
I like
Stop
Dory.
following me, okay?
But a lot has changed since the infamous Oscar selfie has been taken, back when Ellen was actually in the good graces of the general public. But I mean, in the years since—
because people didn't know what she was like. Many such cases. People think like celebrities are normal and then they open their mouth.
Since Ellen has had such a fall from grace so monumental, it should be studied. It's a good lesson in showing up for people. Like maybe if Ellen showed up to, what's her name, Dakota James's birthday party, she would have still been on TV doing what she loves doing. Hosting her show and conducting hidden camera experiments designed to humiliate her audience members. That is such a fascinating—
Dude, he had to cut out so much. I know what he's talking about, though.
Use of being a show host. Why would you ever want to humiliate an audience member of yours? Like, she literally made her audience member go sit in Ellen jail. Imagine traveling far and you're excited to sit in the audience and get free merch, only to be portrayed as like some damn Daniel of being greedy and dishonest. Are you serious? But unfortunately for Ellen, she just kind of had this like death by 1,000 cuts, because nothing like truly insane happened. It was just a bunch of moments that made people go, yeah, that's kind of weird. Why would she do that to someone? But it's safe to say in recent years, Ellen has been laying low and trying to avoid drama as much as possible. She also literally moved across the world to England. So for most, she's kind of been out of sight, out of mind until this week, as she's now being sued for negligence after allegedly running a stop sign and T-boning another driver back in 2023. The woman, whose name hasn't been released, claims she stopped at a four-way intersection and made sure there was no other vehicles present before driving forward. That's when DeGeneres allegedly and suddenly, without any warning, collided into her vehicle and T-boned her, causing injury. So I mean, since this was 2023, Ellen probably was rushing to work to scream at some intern for her new Netflix special. We'll get into that later on. But the lawsuit does go on to further accuse Ellen of exhibiting negligent behavior or conduct that fell below the standard of care.
When you are a celebrity that has millions of dollars, sometimes I think there's some sort of psychosis that happens where you need to like get a dopamine rush to do something really retarded so that you can have something happen that is not within your control. Because when you have that much money, you become kind of like almost like a control freak, because you have so much money that you can control almost every aspect of your life because you have money to answer to everything. I think this happens a lot.
Of a reasonable person. So they're basically saying that Ellen wasn't paying attention to the laws of the road, and her negligence in this case, ignoring a stop sign, caused an accident. There isn't too much public information on the severity of the accident itself or the specifics of this woman's injuries, but the lawsuit does state that she suffered multiple serious personal injuries and damages as a result. Hold up. I'm just making literally the best sugar-free lemonade I've ever tasted. Yes, this is sponsored, but prove me wrong. Actually, I can prove you wrong. You can literally order a free sample pack. No payment details needed. You can get a free sample pack with free shipping on gamersubs.gg/Atozy. So if you don't believe me they have the best sugar-free lemonade, I can literally prove you wrong. But if you actually do believe me and you want to get a tub of lemonade or any of the other flavors on the website, it's like $40 for one tub, which is 100 servings. So it's like 40 cents per serving. Plus, with my code Atozy, you get 10% off. So I don't really see a loss here. So I'd heavily recommend you go into gamersubs.gg/Atozy for 10% off or free sample packs if you want. And if you do end up buying something from the Gamersubs site, you will be supporting the channel heavily because
they sold out of free samples. Really? Let me see. Gamersubs free samples. It says they're in stock for me. I don't know what you're talking about, fool. Go right now! Go buy some samples, brother!
I am trying to get my own flavor here. That's currently my main dream. I just want to have my own flavor of a beverage. That sounds pretty awesome. And if you guys were wondering, I'm going to call it Memory Lane Melon because I heavily like melon flavored stuff. And you know, my whole branding is running down memory lane. So I guess regardless of what the injury was, she still likely had to deal with things like missing out on paydays because, you know, she was unable to work and all the medical expenses required to deal with her injuries. Not to mention that on top of all the financial burden of the accident. And the woman also allegedly struggles with loss of enjoyment of life, emotional distress, and anxiety. And I guess all of those things stacked up on top of each other result in this woman suing Ellen for general negligence and an undisclosed amount of compulsory damages. Naturally, people in the comments of these articles called this cash grab and questioned why this woman waited 2 years before finally suing. Honestly, that's a valid question.
Yeah,
but
I don't know.
Also,
maybe
to
she
be
found
fair,
out she's Ellen
she could have just assumed that she would recover and be back to work in a couple months, and then things didn't work out as planned. It's hard to really tell when you get such limited information in the lawsuit, but also, is that a telling thing? Like, if she was seriously injured, would they not go into way more detail on how seriously injured she was? I'm just saying, I've been sued before, and BitBoy was claiming emotional distress and lost pay and a lot of similar stuff to what she's claiming here. That's not me saying this woman's going for a cash grab here, but BitBoy was definitely going for a cash grab at me, or well, he was just trying to drain me of money at the time. And if you subscribe to my channel in the last 2 years, TLDR, the biggest crypto bro 2 years ago decided to sue me. He didn't have a case, and he ended up withdrawing the lawsuit after he raised a whole bunch of money thanks to you guys. But I digress. Other people are currently speculating that the reason it took—
And that crypto bro probably had a decent amount of money, and he wanted to bully someone because they wouldn't have as much money as they do. I think that's horrible, man, that people can just do that. I think that should just— he got arrested. Good.
Long for her to file a lawsuit is because she may have been trying to settle it privately, and after many failed attempts, she's now gone public. See, that kind of makes a little bit more sense. But if you have been keeping up with me for a while, you would remember that back in 2020, we covered her original first downfall. Actually, I made 2 separate videos on this topic. The first one was covering some of her scandals back then, and then the second one was the work environment. Because there was a ton of things that Ellen had done to piss off the majority of people during COVID, like cut a bunch of shows' employees' pay, and compare her being quarantined in her beautiful home to being in—
Everyone in here is gay.
It just kind of came across as out of touch when
so true, Queen. Everyone in my chat is gay.
she was living here. But also, it wasn't a pandemic. This was everyone's first pandemic, and most were scared and feeling cooped up.
What do you mean first?
So, at least we can—
I don't want another one. What? As much as it would be great for me personally, I don't want to have another one. That's how you know it's bad. I'm okay. I'm all right.
Cut her a little bit of slack there. Still think it's kind of a scummy thing to cut all your employees' wages, but hey, I'm just saying I didn't actually increase wages. But I also do realize we have a very different show format. And honestly, that was nothing compared to the toxic workplace claims that came out in July of 2020. Because multiple staff members came forward with various allegations, such as being penalized for taking medical leave and fear of retribution for raising complaints about working conditions.
You're not allowed— what? How is this legal? They probably made him sign ridiculous contracts or some shit.
While no specific allegations were made against DeGeneres, one former employee alleged producers hid the toxic workplace complaints from the host. So I guess you could claim that you didn't—
Yeah, because she's gonna freak out. Yeah, that makes sense.
No, but the show is literally named after you, and the whole show goes on about being super generous. It's just a massive juxtaposition. Then, after a couple failed apologies and attempts to sweep the article and growing rumors under the rug, the Ellen DeGeneres show ended up ending in July of 2022.
My last season.
And a couple years after that, in 2024, Ellen came out of the woodwork to release a comedy special titled For Your Approval. And in this special, she tried and she failed to laugh off the accusations about her workplace culture and wiggle her way back into people's good books. And she did actually respond to the rumors. And Ellen's version of the events includes her being kicked out of show business for being mean, she says on her own Netflix special. Okay, the top comment on the trailer also says that people think the audience are actors.
All right, well, let me catch up on what's been going on with me since you saw me last.
Uh-huh.
I decided to take up gardening. I got chickens. Let me see what else.
Wow, you're so relatable and awesome, chat. Wow, that's so cool and quirky. Yippee. Anybody else hate it when celebrities like have apps? Like, I know there's celebrities out there that have like a modicum of like relatability, right? Even though they have a lot of money, they can still be in touch, relatively speaking. This is so like, this is almost like an alien's talking to me like, hey, human, I have chickens. Do you want chickens? I like chickens. I eat their eggs every day. It's good for me. And it's like, what the fuck?
So I can tell you about that. Been going on.
Wow.
Oh yeah, I got kicked out of show business.
Would I be a
Girl
good
wasn't
laugher?
kind. That was the headline. Here's the problem. I'm a comedian who got a talk show, and I ended the show every day by saying, be kind to one another. Had I ended my show by saying, go f*** yourselves,
That's
people
so
would have been pleasantly surprised to find out I'm kind.
Now, based on the
queen.
trailer alone, I don't think anyone expected to be blown away by this, but her casual attitude about the serious
Yes,
allegations
queen.
obviously rubbed a ton of people the wrong way.
Yeah, those people that were complaining about me, just a bunch of pussies.
And public opinion of
Sorry,
Ellen at
I
this
just
point
read
was
something
still
that's
not the
super
best.
stupid.
And it kind of seemed like any hope for a return to the spotlight was over for her at this point.
I read something
and after
really
results
dumb.
of the 2024 U.S.
Maybe I'll tell
election,
you in a
Ellen and her
second.
wife, Portia, she stuck to her word and actually
Portia!
packed up and moved to the United Kingdom.
Whether you agree with her politically or not, she stuck to her guns. She is
True to her word.
She and Portia de Rossi have left the country.
Days
Yeah, I
after
bet.
the election, they bailed. They went to England. Now, they had a house
England's
that
not
they
that
already
much
had a house.
better,
They had
but
a house.
if you have a lot of money, you can go anywhere and make it great. Why? I mean, I don't know. I guess she doesn't have any attachments, so she doesn't care.
That didn't mean they were going to live there. It's in the Cotswolds. And they made a decision, as our source put it, who is very connected to them, to get the hell out. And they did it days after the election. They live there now. And they're gonna sell the Montecito house.
And she states it was to leave behind the insanity of the US, but fans speculated that it was really just to get away from the negative press and let the dust settle. Because believe it or not, my only crime was being mean joke didn't really land that well.
England is a fucking dump. Not if you're rich, man. Any place can be awesome if you have millions and millions of dollars. I don't believe that. Money can fix a lot of fucking problems.
With a lot of people. So I guess after living peacefully with her wife in the English countryside for over a year, I'm sure she thought she finally left her Hollywood lifestyle and all these scandals in the past. That was until now, because the California legal system has just come knocking at her door. It's unclear if any more details will be released anytime soon, but I'd be surprised if Ellen didn't want to settle this privately and avoid having to return to California for what would obviously be a very public court case. For now, we'll have to wait and see if they'll actually settle or go to court. But if I would give Ellen any advice, I would take her own and just keep swimming. Or maybe to go to gamersubs.gg/Atozy and pick up the best
She's not
sugar-free
gonna do
lemonade
that.
or any of the other flavors using code Atozy. And again, if you don't believe me the flavors are good, you can check out a sample pack, which is free. You don't even need a credit card or debit card or any payment
Ooh.
options. Free shipping, literally a free gift from me.
That's so crazy.
Link down below. But other than that,
Nice
I'll see
show.
you
Good
guys
show.
in the next video. Subscribe if you're new. Drop a like if you enjoyed this video. Peace.
Dude, someone DM me that Ellen DeGeneres allegedly threw like coffee cups at a person's head, man. For like daring to talk to her before a show without her approval, without the approval of, what is it called, like an assistant? Yeah, allegedly. This was like years ago. That's what made me laugh. I was like, is this fucking real? This can't be serious. Yeah, there's a lot of stories like that, but I don't know. Wow, what a surprise. She ran from her problems to another country, thought it would help, thought that her behavior would improve, and then she did something that would just solidify that she's still a bitch. Calling me surprised. I never liked her. Like, I remember seeing her stuff on Comedy Central and I would always skip it. Yeah, she had like a few specials here and there. I just thought she was kind of vapid and annoying to listen to, but I always chalked it up to just maybe like I didn't like her voice, which is fine. Like that's your personal preference. But then all that stuff came out of her being a horrible person. I was like, damn. Yeah, that makes sense. She's fake. Yeah, there's a lot of people like that, unfortunately. Should have kept their mouth shut.